All right, here we go. All right, sorry about that, y'all. Um, Having a little bit of technical difficulties trying to get it set up. All right, there we go. All right. Um, Ice, you there? Ice, we can't hear you if you are there. So I'm just going to go ahead and start. And if Keith is in here, Keith, you can request to come up too. But first off, I think we're just going to talk about, we're just going to jump into um, looking at just like the past week P&Ls because, I just want to give a huge shout out to all the people that have been crushing it this past week. Before I do that, someone give me a thumbs up. Make sure that y'all can hear me in the chat. Just give me a thumbs up. We good? All right, perfect. So if we jump over to the P&Ls from this past week, we had some crazy P&Ls. See if I can bring up the profits and wins here. So today for me, I actually did pretty decent. I had a pretty decent day of $1,200 on some of my accounts. I also made like $600 on some of my other accounts. We had some people doing fully automated, uh, knocking out $1,000. We have actually a couple of people doing really good with automation right now. But I'm just going to kind of scroll up and see what we have. Of course, we have Ice today crushing it with about $1,000 across all his accounts. 600 to $1,000. Um, we have Small crushing his Express Top Step account. I'm not sure if he's already taken a payout out of this, but um, definitely that's a 50K account with a balance of 5,000. So easy payout or already eligible for right there. We have Captain getting his payout approved with My Funded Futures. So we just have people just crushing it left and right here. Um, Another 3,000, 1,500 on two separate days. So, but I wanted to see if I could find somebody that was actually had like their automation because I know um, Keith, I think, posted his automation from last week where he was up like I want to say like four or 5 grand for the week with a specific strategy that he posted. I wanted to try to find that, but maybe in a little bit I'll just have him talk a little bit more about it if he's here. See if Keith is in here. Yeah, he's here. See. Who's this? Who's S? I see somebody requesting to speak that they're up here. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. And what we'll do at the end of our session here, we will start to answer some of those questions. I'll go back to my face here. Ice, you have your camera or your audio working? Um, Not sure if Ice has his camera working. Yeah, or his audio seems not to be picking up. Um, so I think today, I think what I want to show then, I'm just going to kind of go over where we are in the market then, why I try to wait for Keith or Ice here. But where we are in the overall market right now in terms of, um, in terms of really, I want to go over the 15-minute chart. Probably here would probably be the easiest to show y'all. So I'm going to just drag my chart over to my main screen and do this. Um, so first off, on the day, right? One, we've been really having this big downtrend for the past couple days. If people didn't watch a video that I've already made about this, typically, when we go below the 50 moving average on a day chart on NQ, we will stay there if we're in an uptrend, an average of about 16 days, and it's typically a maximum about 19 days if we're in like an uptrend. So once we close below the 50 moving average, there's a very high probability that we're going to be under here, under this blue line right here, for at least 16 days. So that's something that I've kept in mind. Doesn't mean that we're not going to go back up to it like we did here and here, but it does mean that, in the overall kind of grand scheme of things, that we're probably going to continue staying under this for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So now we're under here for
Mhm.
12 days. So if we are going to kind of continue this uptrend, um, and potentially even try to make another new all-time high, right? What I'm looking for is on day
Testing,
somewhere in
testing.
between day
Oh, can you hear me?
16 and 19. I can hear you, Ice. Um,
Okay, good, good. Sorry about that.
16 and 19. I want to see it break this level here. I want to see it close above that 50 moving average. That will kind of give me this bullish indication that we might come back up to retest this. If we stay under this 50 moving average for more than 19 days, that is not a great sign for a bullish continuation, in my opinion. I mean, this is just statistics that I'm going off of. But whenever we like, if you go back for the past year and you count how many candles we have had underneath this 50 moving average and this trend up, this is where you get like the average at 16. But then it's like when we're in a downtrend, once we start a downtrend like we did in 2000, start of 2000 like 21 or end of 2021, start of 2022, this is where you'll see us stay below this 50 moving average for much longer than 19 days, sometimes all the way up to like 43 days. And so this 19, 16-day range here is to me going to potentially be really telling on the bigger moves on NQ. And this is something that I'm just paying attention to. And you can also see how I use the Q Pro, the Smart Money Concepts. I do have like my own Q Wave settings. I use a 4.5 deviation band, 50, 256 weighted Q Wave to kind of give me an idea where we are. And you can see that we don't break out of the bottom channel very often, right? And so when we do, like we just did, usually we'll come back into that bottom channel. And for the most part, we almost never break up above this channel. I mean, again, it's very usually we stay within this range on a day chart. So just some things that I use on my higher time frame day charts. And then you can see like today, um, this is the 15 minutes. This is Smart Money Concepts, and you can kind of see, we basically just stayed in between these two pivots today. And I was looking for a breakout, kind of, something in this range, but we just never broke out. We just maintained this range. Part of that's like news later on this week, and it just seems to be very undecisive later today, just kind of chop sideways. So a lot of people, if you kept on trading, you probably got chopped up today. You can also see how like VWAP responded, didn't really respond that well actually early on today. But these are just kind of all the ideas, all the higher time frame stuff I look for. The big thing on the 5 minute chart was this order block right here. I can circle it. This order block right here played out really nicely. Um, this one right there. So that played out really nice today. If you were able to catch that, and that order block also kind of didn't fully align with the pivot point, but I mean, pretty much did, like in a way, like where we formed a W pattern, we did make like a little liquidity sweep before rocketing. And that also kind of lined up with the 1 minute chart here. This is where I use this kind of to see VWAP on a smaller time frame, and also just having like my moving averages. But this is VWAP and then VWAP deviations. And so you can kind of see how we respect VWAP deviations here, kind of there as well. And then you can also see kind of how we, start forming, not pushing through that deviation right there as well. Um, So this is stuff that I look at. It's not. I don't take trades off deviations alone. So just because we touch this lower deviation does not mean you should trade it. I want to see other confluences on, QGrid, footprint charts. I still use QPro. I kind of switch between the two. But these are kind of like my overall bigger picture of everything that I'm looking at throughout the day while I'm trading. Um, I wanted to let you go ahead and take it and kind of go over what you were uh, looking at today. Um, and because I saw that you made you posted a positive P&L today, but I'm assuming is a little bit lower than you normally do. So did you take some losing trades today, or kind of just break down your trading day for us today?
Yeah, sure. So today was one of the websites that I go to just for information purposes is forexfactory.com. And for everyone else who gets their economic news from different sources, basically, if I remember correctly, there was not any red folder news today, which means it really wasn't uh, like impactful news in the way that unemployment would be, or um, CPI, or any of the other acronyms that happens, right? So essentially, as you stated earlier, it was very rangy, with the exception of a couple of breakouts that I saw to the upside. I was doing a consultation around a one-on-one consultation with someone around 9:30 Central Standard Time, and I saw like a crazy downside breakout. I didn't know if something else happened that caused that, but it looked like it was about 100 or 150 points. But aside from those couple of breakouts, it was primarily a ranging day, which for anyone that I've talked to basically just means that the price really wasn't going to go that far above your opening range bracket, whether you do an opening range within a 60-second or a 15-minute opening range, or price wasn't going to go above it. So if you had plans to, take trades that would push out in the way that those couple of examples did that you stated, or what I just stated, it was going to be a tough day for you, um, because we just really didn't go anywhere. Um, and we just kind of stayed within that opening range the entire time. So it's kind of a tough day to trade if you didn't recognize that. I took a couple opportunities, won a couple, lost a couple. So after that, I kind of just, and along with the call that I had, I kind of just let the day be. And then as I saw on my call and other opportunities, those kind of the true breakouts that will make your day, whether you have any val count. Honestly, no matter what size, as big as those breakouts, where they probably would have got you funded, or if you had a PA, it would have gotten you a great bit of money, no matter whether you did one contract or if you did one and added to a position. So, but Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday should be more purposeful days, purpose-driven days in terms of price, because there'll be a couple of catalysts that will drive price just based on whether the news is good or bad from a trader standpoint.
Yeah, yeah, especially this week. Which is funny because I think normally Mondays are like the biggest day. Now I could be wrong in saying that. I'm like trying to actually pull up some statistics that I have um, beforehand. But um, yeah, I mean, there's a reason too why like a lot of us only trade during like the morning session. Like, would you say how late in the day do you typically like stop trading with your
Uh,
setup,
I
Ice?
try not to be on the computer no longer than Eastern time zone, so 11 at the
11?
latest.
Yeah.
Yeah, 11 a.m. Yeah, because
Yeah,
you're getting right until lunch is starting to get to that point, and even if it wasn't a ranging day, price will start to kind of go sideways. So it'll be tough to have good direction. Even with quant view, you may see things where, for example, Q Cloud may show fully green on the bullish side, but it's it's not spread out yet, and then it kind of will go towards the bearish side, so it'll kind of look like it's swimming sideways, just back and forth. And
Yeah.
it's nothing worse than being in a state of consolidation when you're in a trade because it can go either way for you, and just it's better just to get out and wait for it to kind of show itself how it should be. So yeah, by 11, I try to be done. And I mean the conversation that we had, my misconception of thinking that Power Hour gave you similar volume, and you showed me the data that said that was not accurate. It's a misperception. So
Yeah, here I'll
yeah,
show.
just trying to make sure I get the best volume to ride the bus alongside whatever the winner is, whether it's a bull or bear opportunity.
Yeah, so the data set he's talking about is this data set right here, um, which is basically just showing volume and range over time of day. And I think this is a 3-year average I have right here. I also have a 5-year average data somewhere as well. But I mean, you can see the volume in the market once we hit about noon Eastern Standard Time. You know, it's this is where it's like you get a lot of chop just due to the fact that the volume's very low. And people always say power hour, right? But you can see from just power hour, right, that the volume doesn't increase. It slightly increases, right? If you're looking from here to here, maybe we have a slight increase, but we don't see any real volume increase until the last 15 minutes before market closes. And you can see how much price will move to the range of the price, like will move within that. This is actually looking at yeah, this is NQ. So, I mean, this is kind of what you're looking at when you're looking at the overall market time. And what times should you trade? What times should you not trade? And this isn't. It's hard to like when you're collecting 3 years of data and you're squishing it down into like something like this. Where it's hard it's still not guaranteed that that will happen every single day. If there's news at 2 p.m., then of course 2 p.m. for the rest of the day is going to have higher volume that day probably than most other days. So but this is kind of just like um data that's like I think is very 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 helpful to have. I think the other thing too that I've learned, at least looking back for the past year, um Mondays tend to be, or at least for this past year, Mondays have always been the greenest days. 76% of the Mondays in the past have closed green, and then it was like the lowest for closing, or the highest for closing red, I think was Thursdays at 52%. Um, and so weird data, but it's like it's helpful to know that it's like, once you know that, hey, Mondays, at least statistically for over the past year, are definitely the highest percentage of green days, or at least over the past year. I need to run that data further back as well. But it's important data, I think, to have. Um,
Absolutely.
and I'm trying to compile more data so I can put it into more videos and stuff too. I'm trying to do some stuff with Anthony as well. Anthony's put out some great data on pivot points. That we need to consolidate it onto one location, so people can look at it. But been some really interesting data that he had on pivot points, where once we pass or close below S3 intraday, it's like the chances of us going back above S2 is like 20%. It's like closing above S2 is like 20%. It's like a extremely slow, like very low likelihood that we'll rally back up at the end of the day. So, yeah, when it comes to trading end of day, it's a lot of good data that to have. You have an 80% chance or something of it, of if we close, if we had a candle close below S3, it's like an 80% chance that we're not going to close above S2 at the end of the day. So, I mean, are those 10%, those 15% days going to happen and it rallies all the way up during power hour? Yes. Unlikely though, statistically. Um, yeah, since we don't have Keith here today, I wanted to uh, I'm gonna let you talk for a second while I'm gonna look for Keith's I know he shared a lot of the his automation settings stuff or automation trading recently, and so I wanted to look for some of that really quick so I could share that in video because he's been crushing it with automation. There's actually a couple of people in the P&Ls that are crushing it. But I just wanted to find uh some of it
Okay.
really
Well, while
quick.
you're doing that, I can just expand on a little bit about what I was saying about the economic news. So, essentially, one of my best practices for everyone that's listening, again, red folder and sometimes orange folder news can impact ES, NQ, gold, all of the instruments, just depending on what it is. But it's something to be aware of for a couple of reasons. For I would say a large percent of us that prop trade um, use a prop firm to trade. I know Apex doesn't care for you to trade during news because if you do, you have to prove the reason why you take the trade. It can't just be I just want to ride the wave. If you bet on it going up or down, and you're right. So essentially, you kind of want to just be aware of what's going on when there's impactful news. Just looking at the website right now, for example, um, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, core PPI news will come out, and so an hour before market open, there may be a chance that price move dozens or even hundreds of points one way or the other, right? So for everyone that does pre-market trading, you want to be aware of that hitting. And I can give a personal example. When I probably about a month or two into getting into futures and was either unaware of news or didn't pay attention to it, right? So I was in a trade. Let's just say there was news that was going to hit at 10, and I took a position at 9:55. It was a bear position, and I was up maybe 3 or 4 points, and 10 o'clock hit, and it was just like the biggest green candle that you ever seen in your life, right? And I'm in a bear trade, so obviously that's not good for me. I get stopped out, but because the trade went so fast, it blew through my stop loss, um, like crazy, like stupid. So I say all that to say that account was blown, right? Because I was in a certain amount of contracts, and I didn't factor uh, that candle, one, hitting my stop loss that fast, two, encountering slippage that basically it didn't honor the stop at whatever point or ticks it honored it as soon as they could close it. And that's one of the realities of trading, right? There's not a guarantee that just because you have a stop that it'll be honored. It's based on when they're able to pull the stop or the entry, take that order. So it's important for your own protection for your prop account, or if you do a live account with your own money, just to be aware at all times whenever there's any type of economic news going on that will impact the instrument that you're using, whether that's the S&P 500, whether it's Nasdaq, whether it's gold futures, whichever oil, whatever thing that you're trading. So just one thing to keep in mind. It'll save you a lot of heartache because you can't have a do-over. Like they're not going to give you your money back, or the prop account is not going to say, hey, you can get a reset. It's These are things that they assume that you are aware of, and you
Yeah,
just have to be aware at all times what the market can and may do, whether that
and
will help or hurt you.
yeah, I'll say also like I know a lot of some people recently I know got denied a payout from Apex for trading during news. They used to be a little bit more lenient on it, but it seems like they're not being as lenient as they used to be with it. So it's just I would be more careful with it. I haven't had a problem with it, but don't typically trade news. And in the past, when you do, typically all they make you do is like they want you to prove like, hey, like you weren't just trying to gamble on news. Like show us the setup that you were trying to trade. Um,
Yeah.
so what I wanted to show was the automation. I thought it was Keith that posted, but it was Marcus actually that posted his automation. I don't, Marcus, if you're here, I would could just bring you up so you could talk about it. If you're here, just type in the chat. If you're not, it's not so it's fine. But what I will show is we have Jace over here. He's actually posted fully automated trading. I think he's trading the Q grid setup by right now, and he's had a couple of really successful days. If you look in the P&Ls, Witty has also had some success with Q grid as well. Having a 2 to 1 25 points. No, actually he's 1 to 2. So um risking 2 times. So he's had some success. But this bottom one here is from Marcus, and this is over the course of a week almost, right? So a couple days. And you can see up, $2,200. And his settings, uh, he's not trading QGrid. He was trading, um, let me make sure before I say it. So he is trading, yeah, he's trading QGrid 15-second, 2 box, 1 NQ. And so that's him trading QGrid automated for about a week right there. So $2,200 fully automated with only a max drawdown of 800. It's really not that bad. So we've had a lot of people having a lot of success with the Q grid, with regular scalping, with automated scalping. And I've even talked to a lot of people that are using the Q grid automated thing, and they're just manually taking the trades off the signals, and that's it. Which is fine. Which is, if you don't want to set it up, that's kind of one of the ways that you could do it, for sure. Um, and yeah, I mean, I do automation on my own personal accounts. I only on a prop account, the only prop firm that I personally have done automation on was Blue Sky, just because they allow it. And they have no issues with it. And so I do automated there, but outside of that, I don't do any automation on my other prop accounts. Because to me, if it's like that gray area, like Apex, where they're like semi, it's not worth me losing my accounts over. So I just try to stay away from it on those. But there are plenty of people on here that do trade automation on all the prop firms. So um, let's jump over to some questions here in the Discord channel. I'm going ahead and just scroll through and kind of see. Um, do you use automation on your live accounts? I do have automation on my live accounts, on my personal accounts. Um, yeah, top crypto. Oh yeah, we actually saw somebody trading crypto in the P&L recently. They were posting some of their winnings. Um, let's see, videos coming out tomorrow. Trying to see if you see any questions, you can feel free to answer them to Ice.
Okay, I'm looking.
Hi, bro. I'm new. Just got. Let's go back to my face. Not sure. You're teaching people how to use your indicators here. Are you teaching people how to trade? So probably the best way. His question is if we're teaching people how to use the indicators on the live stream. Um, Not on the live stream. We have plenty of videos on our channel that really go into depth, different strategies, different scalping strategies. We have a video that's it's a interview with Ice that kind of goes over his exact layout and his chart layout in the description below. So if I bring the Discord up, if you just joined at the bottom of the QuantView page right here, there's a thing called Pro Resource, and in the Pro Resource we have pro chart layouts. And so these are a bunch of chart layouts that already have our indicators on it. And you know, we have three really good setups for like kind of the one, I would say a one screen chart, really four, maybe five. We have more than I think. So we have the 5 minute scalping in Q1, which is really nice. We have a triple kind of a triple box setup with my extra order block, which you can get in the Pro Freebies Lounge. We have the Jay's setup, who is probably, I mean, he's a 5 figure trader. He's probably going to be a 6 figure trader by the end of the year. This is his chart layout. Ice's, which is who's on screen with me right now. And then there's also one that I made for the Q Rinko with using a 5 minute and a 15 minute for SMC. And we can find videos on every single one of those chart layouts and how you would trade all of them differently. And for people that don't know, right, I wanted to bring this over really quick. So for people that don't know, um, this is so I have something called the TI Trading Wiz order blocks, right? So I turn those off and turn those on. You can kind of see what they look like, and some of the order blocks will overlap with the order blocks that are in the Smart Money Concepts, but some of them are completely different. So specifically, this one right here, right from today, that had this beautiful, this beautiful trade right here off that zone, and right here, this order block formed on the formation of this candle. So it was a really nice like order block setup. And if you want that, that is completely free in the Discord channel. And I use that on a 5 minute and a 2 minute chart. And if you go down to Pro Freebies, it's right here. There's also the QuantView Gamma display as well. There's a couple of really nice free indicators that are in the Pro freebie section, that I would highly, if you haven't already picked these up, I would highly recommend at least checking them out. Again, I should probably put here in parentheses that I use it on the 2 minute and 5 minute chart. So that's what I use it for, the 2 minute and the 5 minute. Um, so I mean, it's a great kind of place to start. Um, and let's see, let's go back to the open chat here and see if we have any more questions. Um, does ICE use indicators to make profits? I'll let you answer that, I guess.
I mean, I think we all strive to make profits, right? To kind of expand on the question a little bit. So my my strategy, it came from a combination of things. I took the tight alerts, Nasdaq from the pro chart layouts, and then just over the course of consuming the videos over and over again that you guys have on YouTube, the strategy videos, the Moneyball training video, the Q Pro 2.0 training video, I configured the settings for a just the best possible way to scalp, right? And I still from time to time will consider different things related to my ATM strategy, but um, yeah, I know I sound like a broken record saying this, but I usually always want, you know, several things to align, right? Q Cloud, Moneyball, Momentum, and to a certain degree, Q line. It depends on where price is, where if it's a bearish trend, I may get in a little bit early before it goes below the line. Again, depending on just how it looks, and the same thing for above. Um, but yeah, it's definitely to get the best P&L possible, right? And um, if you keep your risk low and you're not, you know, afraid to trade, I don't want to say afraid. If you're not adverse to taking risk up and down the chart, once you analyze what the market looks like, you can, take trades up and down the chart. If you were able to analyze the market today, at a certain point, um, to me, it looked like a test and retest day. But after that big pump and that big dump, it became a ranging day, right? Because we just kept coming back to the
Hmm.
opening range bracket, which means to me, it, I would be very uh, willing to take buys and sells up and down because I know price is going to revert back to the opening range, or it's going to stay right above it, or it's going to stay right below it, just based on what happened at a certain point today. And I just wouldn't be afraid to take a buy or afraid to take a sell because we're not going too high, we're not going too low. And that's kind of what happened over the course of the trading day today, with the
Yeah.
exception of a couple of very large pushes up, push up, and a couple of very large pushes down.
Yeah, the push downs were much more violent today than the push
Oh yeah,
ups. Like it was like building, 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 boom, building, 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 boom.
yeah, it's
That's what it felt
yeah,
like.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, and the other thing is like see a lot of people come in here and they ask about automation, and I think one of the things that I wanted to show with automation is something that Anthony posted recently. So this has been running since March, um, and this is number of trades, right? And this is points on NQ. I thought this was actually the dollars, but this is points on NQ. So 1,500 points, which is about $30,000, let's say roughly in profit, right? And the biggest drawdown was about 500 points. And so 500 times 20, that's about $10,000. So, and this is only trading one NQ contract. And so I think the thing with automation, a lot of times for people to understand is that automation will have big drawdowns sometimes, like especially if it's based on a simpler script or whatever. You know, you will have drawdowns, and so you piling into three contracts trading this, right? You would have to have an account size that could survive a 15, 15. What is that? No, $30,000 drawdown. Then for every contract that you're adding, it's basically $10,000 wiggle room that you need. And so that's the thing with a lot of automation. A lot of people don't realize or try to do automations too quickly. And like, yeah, you might start automation on a prop account, right? You say right here in this zone, and you might get 500 points, right? And have to 10,000. That might be over the course of a month, right? And you might have for one, two, three nice payouts, maybe four, right? And then that next week you're going to fail those accounts and you're going to blow them. And then the next week you're going to blow them. And then the next week you're going to blow them. And then the next week you're going to make money. And then next week you're going to make money. And then next week you're going to make money. And so it depends on like if you get into automation or you're trying something on larger time frames, a lot of times people are just way over leveraged. They're doing 3, 4 contracts, which again could work for a temporary time period, right? But what's crazy is if people would have just say you did this with, you know, um, half 5 MNQ contracts, right? Um, and you're risking $5,000 and you got like 100, what is that, $250,000 account, right? And you got 20 of those and you let those run, right? You would be roughly at $15,000 profit on 20 accounts over 7 months. So be up $300,000. Like it's interesting because it's like people want to go so fast when it comes to trading sometimes, and it's
yeah.
like this is a script that we have. Like this is something that is shared with our community, and if you would have just started this in March and did it on 20 accounts and got account sizes that were gave you enough wiggle room and had the right contracts, so only 5 MNQ contracts, right? And just let that go, you would be up $300,000 on the year. Like, I mean, and that's kind of crazy when you think about it in that perspective. Like, this is, it's slow, right? It's not fast. You might not be able to take payouts for the first couple months, right? But the idea is that you're building these accounts up to get to big payouts. So that's the thing that I'll say about automation. Um, is that like even for me, like I have some stuff that I've worked on personally with other people as well, that I have, and even then it's still very slow. Like it's still I'm risking $10,000 to make 30 over the course of a year, type deal. But that's kind of the automation game. So that we have again, we have people in here that are trading automation that have got payouts recently. But I can tell you right now by looking at some of those accounts, like there's one guy in here that was like, I think he was trading like 5 NQ contracts with automation on a 50K account, which I can tell you right now that is way over leverage. And even though he got to payouts, good for him. He 100% is going to blow those accounts up. So I guess keep in mind if you do go do automation, right? That it's a long term. I think long term, and make sure that you manage your risks correctly. And goes the same thing for trading too. Do we have people in here that are first time trading and are trading five, six, 6 contracts on a 50K account, right? Like right now
You're
with this
right.
crazy volatility, dude, I've been trading 1 to 2 contracts on NQ max, and like my stop loss on one contract right now has been $500, and my take profit has been 1,000 because the volatility has just been so insane. Where it's like I've found at least some type of that gives me breathing room, and if I want to, I can close the trade early if it starts to go against me, if it doesn't hold the level that I think it's going to hold, right? But I've had to give myself that much breathing room recently to be not getting like stopped out, especially last week. So,
Yeah.
um, can I alternate between Rinkos and regular candlesticks with uh quant view settings with no issues? That would depend on what indicator. Like for example, my all my indicators with the Smart Money Concepts by QuantView, right? Um, we go to um, all the Smart Money Concept stuff. This is all with candlesticks, right? Um, and I have no problem with it. And in fact, my Q Pro stuff, right? The I use Q Pro, I use the Q Wave, and this is what I use on my day chart. This is the only thing on my day chart too. Let me erase the drawings. Remove the drawings. So this is all I use on my day chart, and I just like that clean setup. The Smart Money Concepts work great. There are things that to me don't work very well on normal candlesticks. I think QGrid's one of those. There is a video of I think Tusi doing a video on QGrid with normal candlesticks. I haven't messed with them on normal candlesticks as much to try to get them to work. Um, and that's one of the things that I don't know because I don't use it that way. So it's like some of the indicators I would say are work much better on Rinkos than normal candlesticks. But you can tweak the settings and get most of all the indicators to work. I love the Smart Money Concepts um, on the 5 minute. Like I think this is a must. I think if you're not looking at Smart Money Concepts on a 5 minute, I think that you're doing yourself like a disservice almost. Like it's very easy to read it. Um, I think especially when we're going up and we're constantly making bullish order blocks, right? And we have a dip back into those bullish order blocks. Should give you a very big bias, of like, hey, we're probably going to push back up, probably going to push back up, um, constantly. So, highly, highly recommend that. Um, let's see. What window would you be running on a 300K account? What window do you be running? I'm going to assume you're talking about like a 15-minute chart or like a day chart. I think that's what you're referring to with that question, Mike. Um, Personally, I keep everything up, man. I mean, that's just the way I trade. I have if we go here, like you can see if I do this, like you can see. So that's how I trade. This is ES on this side. This is NQ on this side. I use these two center monitors for my brokers, and my prop firms. I have them all open up on different screens. And that's how I trade. And that's the way I can, at a glance, look at the pivot points here, the 15-minute here, the day chart, the 5 minute, and I can look at also ES over here, see where the you know, oh hey, we're touching VWAP on we're rejecting off VWAP on ES, right? And then seeing that we're pushing down on NQ, I could still take the trade on NQ, even though it's something that happened on ES and vice versa. So these are things that this is how I trade. Um, for the most part, and I know a lot of people ask what indicators or what's my window setup. I do have a laptop setup that I use, and I've been kind of switching between really ICE's setup for my laptop setup, my Q-Wave chart, and I've also used J's before, and I've had success with all three of them, and all those are in the pro chart layout, as well. So, let's see. Um, Anthony does his automation usually from 9:35 to 12:30. At least a lot of people do their automation within that time frame. Can you trade on 1 or 5 MN? Not sure minutes, 1 or 5 min. I'm assuming minutes. Yeah, you can trade on any time frame with our indicators. Let's see. I'm in and out very fast, which indicators would be best for that? I mean, honestly, ISIS setup then. ISIS setup is extremely, quick, I think sometimes. Um,
Yeah.
you're using a 3 box Rinko right now. That moves very quickly. I would highly recommend looking up ISIS video, and getting a feel for how he trades. Um, yeah, I would highly recommend that if you want to get into scalping quickly.
And so Tucci
Um,
posted in the and I didn't mean to cut you off there, but just Tucci
mm,
posted in the chat that the more detailed video that I made for the community is scheduled to be released tomorrow. It's just under 18 minutes, just trying to give several different examples of what makes um, when I did the interview with you a while ago, just regarding the payouts, just explaining how all of your successful trades should look the same, and I just go over
mhm.
that specifically, what that means, and I just give quite a few different examples. So for everyone that just wants a more detailed video of that strategy, it'll be available on YouTube for QuantView's YouTube channel tomorrow, and you can kind of take it and digest it, and it should give you the my mindset into um, how the trades look. Presuming markets moving at a speed that you're comfortable trading in.
Yeah, lady. I mean, it really just that would just depend on what prop firm you're at. She asked if on QGrid and you get an ad, do you not add if you're already in the red, right? Again, that's going to depend on account size, what you're trading. If you're trading M and Q contracts, sure you can add, and you have a 50K account. If you're trading real NQ contracts and you're trading a 50K, don't add. If you're trading on Apex, don't add, because Apex, for example, doesn't allow you to add to a losing position more than once. Every prop firm has their own rules, their own ins and outs right now. And recently, I've had 2 people DM me this week on Apex that their accounts were canceled, in evals. And I don't know why their daily draw limit wasn't hit, but they were DCAing. And so I don't know. This is something I don't know for sure, but it almost starts to seem like they might have built something into their system for DCA, um, to stop people from doing it. Um, Again, I don't know if that's a fact. I don't know. I haven't been able to confirm this yet, but it does seem like they're starting to build stuff out to watch out for DCA, more than once at least. So yeah, you have to kind of be careful with that. The other thing is, again, not all indicators work at all times. If we go back to that example of the automation that we showed earlier, where you could see that it took equivalent to one MQ contract would be $5,000 loss. This is a perfect example of not all indicators work at all times. So it's like if we get into really choppy sideways action, like we did later today on QGrid, you're going to take a lot of losing trades in a very short period of time because QGrid does not do good in ranges. And it did great this morning, though, like incredibly this morning. I had these nice big moves. It was fantastic, but it will have days where you will have days where we're chopping sideways right off open. You typically have days, especially with if we have news at 10 or if, if the feds are speaking later that day, we'll have a very, very range day, right? And this is where you got to just know when to cut off, right? So it's very rare that we have two range days kind of back to back to back, like 3 days in a row. So if you're set up your accounts in a way where can survive, say, at least 3 losing days, then you should be fine. Like for example, if you set your max loss to $500, right, on a 50K account, well, you can lose 1 day, 2 day, 3 days, 4 days, almost 5 days in a row, right? Um, before you blow those accounts. That's how you should be trading. You should have like if you're trying to make $1,000 a day and you're willing to lose $500 a day, that's how you should be trading. Especially when you're first getting into payouts, because you shouldn't be getting 50K account and then blowing it the same day. That's not. You should at least bare minimum should have a max daily loss that will allow you to keep that account, I would say, for at least 3 days. Whether that you might have to go back down to trading like an M and Q, right? Um, or this is where you might have to be tighter with your take profits and your stops in the beginning. But yeah, I mean that's what I always suggest is like having a 2 to 1 risk to reward for your daily loss limit, versus your daily like profit limit, because that will give you longevity in those accounts, and that's what you ultimately want.
I definitely agree. Give yourself the best chance to stay in the game. Um, Only three things that everyone here in the chat and um, just being a part of this call can control. You can control your entry, you can control your exit, and you can control your risk. Everything else is up in the air. So, like Ti said, some indicators work differently than others based on the date type, right? But it's important not to be emotionally invested in a way that your ego or your pride gets hurt, right? If you take some losses, right? Like it's okay to have a red day and get up and try to fight the next day. Maybe
Yeah.
your loss today would be $500, $400, $700,
Yeah.
whatever the amount is that you settle on. But if you stay in the game to fight, who
Hmm.
knows? Your next day could be a $1,400 day or $2,000 day or
Yeah.
$3,000 day, and that offset the rough day that you had. But if you don't contain the ego and the pride and you insist on trying to trade through it when you're just
Hmm.
not in sync with the market, you'll go from having a red day to having a blown day. And fortunately,
Or
that'll
the
just come with you
worst
having
is,
just a
or the
yep.
worst is when you have an account that's already at payout and you're
Oh,
day 8, day 9 trading it, and you just need one more day, and you just for whatever reason go full tilt because you lose a little bit. You could just stop trading and take a losing day and still get your payout. But I've seen people do it. I've done it. I have done that once this year. I'm not a perfect trader. I went full tilt on some accounts that were already at payout. Could have easily withdrawn 20 grand out of those accounts, and I lost them because I just kept on, like, I wasn't, it wasn't, I kept on trying to like take the same trade, and it just kept on hitting, like wicking my stop over and over and over again. And then I was just, before I knew it, it was like already down. And then it's like, once you get down, you're like, okay, well, I've messed up my payout. So, then that mindset of like, you're only trading 2 contracts. You're like, well, I messed up my payout now. So it's like, if I trade 5 contracts and I win this trade, I get my payout and I'll just be done, or I'll blow the account. Like that, we kind of end up down the spiral. And we've all done it at least once. And I tend
absolutely.
to do it more so on my prop accounts. Not gonna lie, when I'm about to go out of town. So because I'm going out of town, I want to relax. So it's like it's either I'm going to get a nice big payout, or I'm going to lose the account. I'm going, I'm not trading for the next week anyways. So not that's not a good thing to do. I'm not telling people to do that, but there's a reason why I kind of, was more okay with probably going full tilt than I normally would be. Um, I'm not telling people to do that. I want to make that clear. But yeah, we've all done that, and it's not a good feeling when you have accounts that payouts and then you lose them. It is not. That is probably like the worst feeling. And what's funny is if you get to day 8, say you're up $5,000, you get to day 8, right, on a 50K account, you have like a $2,000 buffer, right? All you have to do is set your max loss on those last 2 days to $1,000. If you hit $1,000, you stop trading, walk away. The next day, you could lose another $1,000 and you walk away. Now you get to request your payout, even though you're going to have a 600 a low buffer, right? At least you got your $2,000 payout. Getting your payouts are, and especially in the beginning of your trading career, are so important. I would take my payouts over a buffer at least until you're, say, have 10,000 plus dollars from payouts. After that, then if you want to grow a buffer, you can grow a buffer in those accounts. I don't care, but I think it's crucial, for you to, by paying yourself out that first 10 grand, will basically give you longevity doing prop, risk free for the rest of the year if you do it properly and you snowball it. You don't just jump in with 20 accounts. So
Yeah.
I think that's where we're going to end it here. And if you people have any more automation questions, or at not DM at let's see, Keith and at I'm going to put them on here. We're going to at I'm going to just type it in the chat. So at Keith and then at my mind's going blank here. Marcus. You have automation questions. Those two guys probably have they have a ton of experience with the automation side of things, and are constantly testing new things. That we have Google Excel sheets, or they've created like Google Excel sheets that they've been back testing and forward testing different strategies, and it's all kind of organized and stuff, and are constantly using automation. So these are the two guys that I would ask if you have any questions about automation, at Marcus and at Keith in the Discord channel. They are both labeled as head traders and community leaders inside of our Discord channel, so don't get mixed up with maybe somebody spamming in our Discord channel. Make sure that you're actually DMing the right people. Um, you want to add anything before we hop off, Ice?
Well, just my apologies for being late. I don't know why my audio was acting weird. I
Oh
have
no,
a
you're good. You were you
ringtone
were
that was
here. You were
playing.
here.
Yeah, I was here before, but for some reason it wasn't connecting from an audio point.
Uh,
Yeah, so no, this was great. Uh,
yeah.
I like I tell everyone that I talk to, I'm less than a year in, guys. So even for all of the praise that you guys give me, and I'm still learning in progress and just trying to be better and manage my risk and optimize profit and all of that. So I would just encourage everyone here that is here, don't hesitate to, whether you're asking questions, for example, in the chat now, or if you have a question, to add whoever you want to ask the question to. And this has been the best trading community that I'll get to, because to me it feels uh, very egoless. Like everyone is striving to be the best that they can, and really are wanting and willing to help each other. So I would just encourage you guys, don't hesitate to ask a question. I don't think there's such thing as a stupid question. You may just not have the information for whatever it is, but someone will answer it. And if they don't know the answer, they'll point you to someone that does. So just let's continue to learn and to grow and to make uh, this uh, labor of love that we do a way to free us so we can enjoy the rest of our lives together. And it's very possible. Like, as Travis has said, he's taken payouts. I've taken them. Like, we can do it, then like literally everyone here can do it. And it just really
Yeah.
just takes individual effort from yourself, learning as much as you can when you're studying quant views, strategy, and toolkit, and more importantly, learning from all of the either the red days that you have or just when things are just not going your way. Don't get discouraged. I don't want to say don't get discouraged, but don't stay discouraged. Just try to learn from everything that mistakes that you're making to get better, and it will happen for everyone if you want it to.
Yep. All right. Everybody, have a good day. Have a good night. And if you have any questions, DM us or add us in the chat, not DM us. Add